I get a lot of questions about troop control and troop movement, so I thought I'd make a video that I can just link whenever someone asks me about that, so I don't have to type out a long answer each time. It's completely fine that you ask questions, it's no bother at all, it's just nice to have a proper response ready for those occasions. So, we're going to start the battle here. And the first thing I'm going to talk about is how to make a soft group. Making a soft group is done by selecting a number of troops. You can either do that by having the selection box over the units, or you can just click on one unit, hold control, click the other units, or you can hold one unit, hold shift, and then select the last unit of the line, and you will now select all the units. You can then press Control 1, which gives you group number 1. So no matter where you are on the map, then you can just press 1. If you just press 1 once, you select the group. If you press 1 2 times, you're going to be zooming in and focusing on that group. So very useful. Now, now we're standing on the battlefield, and I want to move up this formation, but I so what I do is I select the group either by using the selection box or just pressing 1. Then I'm going to left click on the unit itself, and I can move the unit up. So the unit is going to start moving. But let's say something happens up here, so I have to start rotating my forces a bit. Now there are several ways I can do that. If I want to keep my formation intact, I can do the same thing, select the one formation, start moving the formation up. If I want to rotate, I hold control, which gives me a few arrows that I can now use to rotate the entire formation. So this is useful if you have your entire army selected and you want to rotate the army while still keeping the same formation. So you can do it like this. Now, there are a few other things that can be worth noting, and that is, now you've created a soft group. If you want to create a hard group, a locked group, you can press Ctrl G. Then you will see a padlock symbol over the group number on the unit cards. So now, however I move my, if I just select group number 1 and start moving my selection, then they're going to stay in the exact same formation that they are in. They won't leave the formation, and that can be a bit buggy, but it can also be useful if you want to move your entire formation at once. Now let's say that I want to have this group turn around on the spot. So one way of doing so would be to drag the formation, rotate the formation, and then do like this. As you can see, this is going to be a bit buggy, a bit messy, and if this was a battlefield situation, you would be in a lot of trouble. So if you want to turn around faster, then you can just press the group number 1, then you can press the J key, and the men are going to turn around pretty much on the spot. They're going to move back a bit, but this is pretty much moving, being able to turn on the spot. Now another thing that can be done with the keyboard is holding the, if you hold the, let's just start without holding the control key. If you press left, the formation is going to move left. If you press right, well, the formation is really going to move. That's the way I have the key set up. If I press right, the formation moves left. If I press left, the formation moves right. So it's kind of mirrored in my setup, but depends entirely on how you have it set up. If you push arrow up, your men are going to move forward. If you push arrow down, your men are going to move backwards. So this is another way of turning around your men. If you're just going to be engaging an enemy head-on and you want to keep your formation, you can use the arrow keys. Let's say you have to reorient your lines a little bit, then you can press sideways, and then you can press forwards, and your men will walk directly forwards. If you need to stop them, you can just press backspace and they will stop whatever they're doing. If you want to increase the width of your formation, you can hold control, and then you can press, oh, that was rotation, sorry. You can press the arrow up key, and the men will try to increase the width of their formation. If you want to increase the density of formation, you're still going to hold control, and then you're going to press arrow down, and the men will increase the depth of the formation. If you hold control and then press left, your units are going to start rotating. If you press right, the units are going to start rotating as well. And one scenario where this can be super useful is, let's say that you have, this is your front line of armored legionaries, and an enemy is starting to outflank you. Well, one thing you can do is you can manually do this, turn your army around. It requires more attention and more micromanagement than simply holding control and turning the formation little by little. So then you have decent control over the unit. You don't have to use your mouse for anything. I was about to say you don't have to use your mouth for anything, but that's weird. So doing as little as possible with the mouse is, in my opinion, a good thing. It allows you to keep attention at the center of the screen where things are happening. It allows you to have the mouse available for doing rapid adjustments. And just another thing, and I do this myself, but I don't think it's the best of ideas. When I move the camera, when you move the camera, you can either use the WASD keys, back, forward, use the Q and E keys to rotate the camera. And what you'll notice then is that I'm able to move the camera across the battlefield while keeping the mouse cursor in the center of the battlefield. A lot of times when I comment on battles, and also when I play, I tend to throw my mouse around like this. I don't really think that is the smartest thing to do. It creates a lot of unnecessary movement. It creates a lot of unnecessary attention-demanding movements. I think it's probably a much better idea to use the keyboard in order to move. Just to show you an example of how these keys can be used to control units instead of using the mouse. So I'm going to be charging into this Oathstorm over here with my Legatus. Not a great idea, but he's the cavalry unit that I had. So now one of the ways of cycle charging with cavalry is of course charging into a unit and then continuing through the unit. Another way is to charge into the front of the unit and then pull back like this, okay? So an easier way that requires less attention and less micromanagement is that you're just going to notice when the cavalry unit hits. You're going to count 1, 2, press the J key. The cavalry is going to withdraw beautifully. And you can keep doing this. Attack, press the J key, and the cavalry is going to withdraw. 0 spam clicking required. You're just going to be cycling for as long as you want. Super effective if you have a good cavalry unit. I don't have a good cavalry unit, I have a shitty Legatus. But that's a very nice way of doing it. So I think that covered all the questions that I've got regarding how to move different units, how to rotate formations. If you rotate in a locked group using the control key and the arrow keys, then you're going to be rotating like this. If you rotate a soft group, you're going to be rotating individual units. If you have a locked group and you're pressing key up, then you're going to be increasing the width of your formation. If you press the key down, you're going to increase the density of your formation. So potentially very useful, very useful. If you just want to move an entire formation a bit forwards without having to keep dragging them forward like this and having them not move in a perfect line all the time, then you can just use the arrow keys for that, back and forwards. And also you can use so you can adjust the formation, but this is sort of a bit slower than just doing this and having the control and rotating the units like this. So this is selecting the unit, pressing 1, and then just holding control, moving the formation up, and then you can rotate it. So hopefully that was useful and answered some questions about how to control your troops on the battlefield, because being able to respond quickly to things that are happening and having efficient micromanagement is super important. You will see some players do a lot of unnecessary clicking and having ineffective micro, which means having micro style that necessitates that you do a lot more than your opponent, opens you up for doing more mistakes as well. So reducing the amount of actions that you take but increasing the amount of effective actions can be a good idea, I think. Strength and honor.